Hello everyone, this is Sharmila Arodhya, Assistant Professor from GCW Bhiwani. Today we will discuss about diffraction of light wave. So now, what is diffraction of light? We classically think of light as always travel in straight line, but when light wave pass near a barrier, they tend to bend around that barrier and become spread out. This bending of light first discovered by Grimaldi of Italy. He observed that with a small source of light, the shadow of an object was larger than that of given by geometrical construction. He also found that the shadow was not very sharp. It was found to be surrounded by a system of fringes. And these fringes outside the geometrical shadow gradually decrease or gradually get closer till they fade away into the general illumination. And diffraction of light occurs when a light wave passes by a corner or through an opening or slit is physically approximate size or even smaller than that of light's wavelength. Okay, this is the must condition. The diffraction pattern is only visible only when the size of the obstacle is comparable to the size of the wavelength. Okay, this bending of light is not observed in daily life because of the size of the obstacle should be comparable to that wavelength of light. Okay. Now consider the monochromatic source of light passing through the slit AB called the diffraction element. The pattern is received on the screen XY. Here the region above P and below Q is the region of geometrical shadow. Is the below Q and above P is the region of geometrical shadow region if the light travel only in straight line. Light has a particle nature only. Okay, the intensity of light beyond P, but actual what is the case here? The intensity of light beyond P and Q decrease gradually. This is not sharply dark. uh, the region above P and below Q is not exactly sharp dark region. Okay, here in small intensity is present which is gradually decreases. Thus the light bend around the edge of slit AB to reach the areas outside the PQ and also bend inward to cast the fringe inside the PQ. We find the fringe pattern near about P and Q, and the region near O is general illumination, and fringes near P and Q are found. Here we can see that uh, in the left side, when the wavelength is much smaller than the aperture width d, the waves simply travel onward in a straight line, just as it would be if it were a particle or no aperture were present. However, when the wavelength exceeds the size of aperture, we experience diffraction of light according to the equation sin theta is equal to lambda by d. D is the width of aperture. Okay, and this is the diffracted light intensity distribution. The central point to the intensity at the central point is maximum. This is called first maximum intensity, and which is surrounded by the other higher orders diffraction orders, maxima and minimas. And this experiment was first explained by the Fresnel, who along with the Thomas Young produced important evidence confirming that the light travel in waves. Now the diffraction phenomenon is divided into mainly two categories: Fresnel diffraction and Fraunhofer diffraction. Now what is the difference between Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffraction? Fraunhofer diffraction Fresnel diffraction. If the source of light and screen are at finite distance from the obstacle, source of light and screen are at finite distance from the obstacle, then the diffraction is referred to as fractional diffraction. And to obtain this fractional diffraction, John plates are required. And in this case, incident wavefronts are spherical or cylindrical, and the leaving wavefronts from the obstacle are also spherical or cylindrical. The waves falling on the obstacle or aperture will not be in the same phase. Okay, these are out of phase, alternate. This will discuss later on. The convex lens is not required to converge the spherical wavefronts. In this case, or fractional diffraction, no convex lens are required for converging the incident or diffracted light. And this type of diffraction is studied with approximations only. Now the Fraunhofer diffraction, if the source of light and screen are at infinite distance, okay, at infinite distance from the obstacle, then the diffraction is referred as Fraunhofer diffraction. This is the main difference between the fractional diffraction and Fraunhofer diffraction. In case of fractional, distance is finite, okay, distance is finite between the source of light and screen from the obstacle, but in case of Fraunhofer, this distance is infinite, okay. And to obtain the Fraunhofer diffraction, the single double plane diffracting grafting is used. In case of fractional, we use John plates, here we use gratings, okay. In this case, incident wavefronts of the on the diffracting obstacle are plane, the wavefront is plane, and the leaving wavefront is also plane in this case, okay, no spherical or cylindrical plane in this case. A wave falling on the obstacle aperture have the same phase, okay. This is also the main difference. In case of fractional, the secondary wavelets are out of phase, okay. In this case, all are in the same phase. Plane diffracting wavefronts are converged by means of a convex lens to produce a diffraction pattern, okay. Because of the plane wavefront, we have to focus the wavefront, all the rays on the obstacle by means of the convex lens. We use here both side convex lens for converging the incident light as well as for converging the diffracted light on the screen, okay. And this type of diffraction is studied for more accurately in the mathematical term and has great practical applications. Now Fresnel made some assumptions to clear all this matter. According to Fresnel, a wavefront can be divided into a large number of half period elements. Half period elements because adjacent elements create a path difference of lambda by 2 and phase difference of pi. Because of alternate half period zone create a phase difference of pi, that's why these are called as half period zones or half period elements. Each element of the wavefront gives the secondary wave continuously, okay. And the effective amplitude at any point on the screen is the combining effect of all secondary waves, and the maximum effect of any element is in the direction perpendicular to that element and decrease as the angle of inclination with this normal increases, okay. And the effect at any point due to a particular zone depends on the distance of that point from that zone and the angle of inclination of the point with reference to zone under consideration. And third is area of the zone. Here the effective amplitude due to secondary wave originating from S dash is maximum at O point, okay. Maximum intensity or amplitude we got at point O because this is normal to that particular zone, okay, particular zone at S dash, okay. And as we go from O to P, the amplitude or intensity continuously decreases, okay. the effect is continuously decreasing from O to P, and maximum effect is on O only. Maximum effect is O only, and as we go in upward direction or downward direction, the effective amplitude goes on decreasing continuously. Okay, the effect along any direction is proportional to 1 plus cos theta, and at O theta is 0 and cos 0 is 1, hence maximum effect is 2 twice. Okay, hence only is at this point we got the maximum result, and at theta is equal to 180, cos 180 is minus 1, 1 minus 1, that is 0, means effect is minimum, no effect, almost no light in the backward direction. So here we can see clearly the secondary wave from the each point of the primary wavefront spread in. We will discuss about how to construct fractional half period zone. Suppose ABCD is the plane wavefront, and this circle is first half period zone, this circle is second half period zone, and this is third half period zone, and so on. Now we will find the effective amplitude at an extent point Q. Suppose O to Q distance is B, and P1 to Q is B plus lambda by 2, P to Q is B plus 2 lambda by 2, and so on. We can see here the alternate half period zones create a path difference of lambda by 2. Path difference is lambda by 2, and so phase difference is pi. Okay, now we will find the effective amplitude at this point. And why these are half period zone? The full cycle or full period is the wavelength is lambda 0 to pi to 2 pi. This is the full period, but from here adjacent half period zone create a path difference of lambda by 2 and phase difference is pi. So these are called as half period zones. Okay, now we will find the radius of the half period zones. Radius OP1. This how we will find OP1 from this triangle OP1Q. OP1 square is equal to P1Q square minus OQ square. We find P1Q, this is P1Q, this B plus lambda by 2 whole square, and OQ is B square. We got B square plus lambda square by 4 plus 2B lambda by 2 minus B square. B square cancel out, and we got finally lambda square by 4 plus B lambda. Now lambda is very small, so this term can be neglected, and finally we got the OP1 square is equal to B lambda, or OP1 is equal to square root of B lambda. This is the radius of first half period zone OP1. In the same way, we find the radius of the second half period zone OP2. OP2 is the radius of second half period zone. For this we have P2Q. P2Q is B plus 2 lambda by 2 whole square minus this OQ square. This is OP2 square. Okay, this is the radius of second half period zone. B square plus 4 lambda square by 4 plus b 2b into में 2 lambda by 2 minus b square cancel out. This is lambda square plus then here again we can neglect lambda square in comparison to this. This is very small. So radius of the second half period zone is 2b lambda, or OP2 is equal to square root of 2b lambda. This is the radius of second half period zone. This is the radius of first half period zone. Okay, and third half period zone OP3 will be 3b lambda square root of this, and so on. These are the radius of the half period zone. Now we will find the area of half period. Area of the half period zone, area of the circle is pi r square. Pi r square, r is the radius. Area of first half period zone. Okay, pi radius कितना था first half period zone, b lambda, square root of b lambda square. This is pi b lambda. This is the area of first half period zone. Area of second half period zone, again pi r square, pi r square, radius, what is the radius of second half period zone? 2b lambda. Okay, 2b lambda. Now we have to subtract first half period zone from this first half period zone. Radius is b lambda. Okay, see here, this is first half period zone and this is second half period zone. We have to subtract this first half period zone from this, then we will find this area only. Okay, that's why we subtract first half period zone. We got pi b lambda again. This is the area of the second half period zone, and area of third half period zone is again pi b lambda. Or we see here the area of every half period zone is same. Radius is the square root of the natural number times to the b square root of b lambda, and area of all half period zones are same. So the resultant effect at point Q due to all half period or half period zones depend upon the following factors: the area of the corresponding zone, which is same for all the half period zone, and the mean distance of the point Q from the corresponding zone. Mean distance of this point from corresponding half period zone. As we go from O to P3, P4 and so on, the mean distance continuously increasing by a factor of lambda by 2. Okay, and this mean distance is inversely proportional to the effective amplitude at Q. Okay, and third factor is the obliquity of the rays reaching at point Q from the corresponding zone. Now we will find the effective total effective at point Q. Area factor, area is same for all the half period zone. Okay, then distance, the amplitude of the wave reaching at Q from a half period zone depends upon the distance traveled by the wave and is inversely proportional to the mean distance of the zone from the given point. Okay, next is dependence on obliquity. More is the obliquity of the zone relative to the direction of point Q, lesser will be the amplitude contribution. So we clearly see that A1, suppose A1 is the amplitude of first half period zone, A2 is the amplitude of second half period zone, A3 is the amplitude of third half period zone, and so on up to AN. The maximum amplitude is A1. Okay. amplitude continuously decreasing as we go away from the central point, center or first half period zone. Okay, now how to depend on obliquity factor? Suppose from all the factors discussed above, we can conclude the amplitude decreases regularly and form an AP, arithmetic progression. Then A2 is equal to A1 plus A3 by 2, and A4 is equal to A3 plus A5 by 2, and so on. We can write this. Now total amplitude की अगर हम बात करें, this is A1 minus A2 plus A3 minus A4 and up to AN. Okay, why we write this? Because the wave coming from the first zone, first half period zone, is posed in this manner. Then next wave coming from the first half period, next half period zone, second half period zone, is out of phase, yani a phase difference of pi. So this will come in this manner. Okay, next again from the third half period zone, the phase difference is again pi. So next wave is again in this manner. Okay, suppose this amplitude, this is A1, this is A2, this is A3. Suppose we take this as positive, then of course this is negative, this is again positive, and so on. That's why we write A1 is positive, A2 is negative, A3 is again positive, and A4 is negative, and so on. Putting the values of A2 and A4, we find A1 minus A1 plus A3 by 2 plus A3 minus A3 plus A5 by 2 and so on. Okay, after solving this, we find finally A1 by 2 plus AN by 2, AN. Suppose there are n number of half period zones, and in between terms all are cancelled out. Now n is very large number, n is very large number, and we know the amplitude continuously decreasing as we go from first to next half period zone. Okay, then we can neglect this point. This value is very small in comparison to this. So we can say the net amplitude, yeah, effective amplitude at point Q is the amplitude, half of the amplitude due to first half period zone. A1 is the amplitude of first half period zone, and net amplitude at point Q is half of the amplitude of first half period zone only, and intensity is given by A square. This is A1 square by 4. Okay.